Welcome back to Open House Hamilton. Today our guest is James Loewen. He's an expert in mortgages and just a good guy. We discuss first-time buyers and what that's like. Zippity tippity tata, it's Dave and Kai. Don't forget to subscribe and press like.
What's going on, everybody? I'm back with the Open House Hamilton podcast. My name is Dave, the biggest pound-for-pound realtor you know. And today I have one of our favorite partners at the brokerage, James Loewen of the Loewen Group.
Thanks for having me, Bob.
James, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, what you specialize in?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, as a mortgage broker, we just help try to make the home buying process informed and educational. So, a little bit about the past on me. I was with a bank and, working for them, you come to realize that you're not working for your clients. You're working just to crank the machine, right? How much profit can you make? And it didn't sit right, Dave, honestly. So through that process, I came to learn that there were brokers. It was like, picture sitting in a bar and you came in and you only had one beer to serve clients, right? So I had to try to convince them that beer was the right one. And as a broker, it's like being a bartender with every beer available. So really finding solutions for clients. And because I've got more than one bank, it's easier for me to find a yes. And feeling, saying yes always feels better than saying no. So everything from the A lenders, the big banks that you know about, to lenders like trust companies, credit unions, and even down to private lenders. So we get to have a really broad solution to really show our clients the pros and cons of each bank, right? And so
I actually... I don't know if you said this word for word, but I took a line from you that I use often with my clients, that the mortgage broker works for you, but a banker works for the bank. And
100%.
It simplifies
100%.
just the whole process and why they should be exploring other options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, amen on that side. And I think, we kind of make the joke as well. People are like, what's your best rate? I want a great mortgage. Which one do you want? Right? It's kind of like shopping for a car. People, well, how much what's your rate? Well, what's a yellow car cost? Right? So the thing I can say is we have everything. If you think about like a coffee place, we've got everything from gas station coffee, and no offense if you drink gas station coffee, I make my own coffee, but gas station coffee to Starbucks and everything in between, right? Different price points, different quality, different service levels. So, just showing you what a restricted mortgage lender looks like to a full service and making sure that you don't find out later when you need it, like, oh, by the way, you can't refinance now. Oh, shoot. Oh, hey, your mortgage is portable to another property if you're planning on moving. Oh, shit. Oh, I can't get a home equity line of credit. I kind of want to get one of those. So, my whole family, my background, my mom, both my aunts, I was this close to becoming a teacher. And so this for me is kind of financial, which I love, and education to kind of have this beautiful meeting point.
So like teaching finance, essentially.
Yeah. I really like to represent people.
So do you do that with all your clients then, or as a need or per need basis then? Like, are you giving them the heads up on all these types of situations then?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of know within a certain realm as to what type of client and what types of banks are going to be appropriate, right? So you might not realize we're having conversations, but we're having a probing conversation, right? To find out, tell me about your short-term, long-term plans. Sometimes people are taken aback when I say, start asking about family planning. They're like, you're a mortgage broker. Like, what do you need to know, right? So we want to be knowing that. Are you going to be growing your family? Are you going to be adding on liabilities like vehicles into the future, right? And taking a look at the budget. We kind of know from your credit, your income, your down payment, usually what kind of range and what we're looking at. Mm-hmm. And then from there, we're, part of our conversation is to find that stuff out to make sure like, hey, we got you now, but also in the long run, you got this plan too.
Would you say all mortgage brokers think like that? Or is this something that you might have adopted from having worked at the bank previously?
Yeah, I can't really speak to other brokers. What I can say is I'd say brokers for the most part are like mechanics, right? In theory, we should all have the same, this is going to show how crap I am with cars, but the wrenches, pneumatics, right? The lifts, it's how you wield them, right? The service that you offer, I think that makes the biggest difference. So, we kind of make the joke on that, like we're a Mick brokerage, because we like to repeat a very successful formula we've done it over 20 years. And I have some tech that is proprietary to us that I've brought in. Yeah. Just empowering our clients to understand their budget, see the closing costs, see if they can qualify exactly on a home. And I think, I'm really good at a very sectional part of my job, if I'm honest. I'm really shitty at onboarding and collecting documents. I'm horrible at the minutia of going through the documents, working with the lawyers and the appraisers. So I have great team members that do this side, and I just stick to this really sweet spot. Like, I love finding challenges and solutions and getting creative. And if I can bend a rule, hells yeah, I'll do that.
So applying a lot of critical thinking in situations where maybe somebody else would have given up.
100%. And I mean, we're small. We're a team of 4, which I mean is bigger than most brokers. Most are just singular. But it allows us to do a pretty good amount of volumes. With that amount of volume, we have a certain amount of other lenders that we can bring on that also other brokerages might not be able to attract or to maintain. So, for us, we have National Bank, right, which is only recently being allowed in Quebec. We're one of the first brokers in Ontario that now has them. They've got a really unique set of solutions that we've been dying to have. BMO came back to the marketplace only about 8 months ago. We've also got them on ours. So we can do things like short-term rentals, right? Where any other bank just looks at a short-term rental, next, go.
As an investment then? Or?
Just being able to provide financing at all, right? With lending. So for us, that's really, it's great to have a bit of weight, as you made the weight joke before, a bit of weight behind you to be able to attract these lenders, which then become, in my toolkit that I can bring out to make sure we're giving the right solution, the best one to our clients. So that kind of differs. If you're just a lone wolf broker, you're probably not doing 100 million a year, right? You're maybe doing 10, 15. So you're going to only have maybe a couple lenders on file. It helps us to have a pretty big, and we're part of a brokerage that's actually 10 billion. So if there's a lender I don't have, I actually have licensing on every lender that's in the market and in actually every single province across Canada. So it allows us to just say yes, not only here, but even in Quebec. Even though my French is shit, I can still get deals done there too.
Sounds very super comprehensive. But let's take a minute to just run it back. Can you tell me your relationship with Hamilton? Are you originally from Hamilton?
I'm originally from Muskoka, actually, if you know where Craven or Bracebridge is. Yeah, I was about 6,000 people growing up. I came into Halton area when I was, at Laurier at the time. Some buddies actually had, one of my friend's stepfathers actually had Orlick Industries here in Hamilton. So I came in and realized that this was kind of like a larger version of Muskoka for me. And that might sound stupid, but being near Lake Ontario all the time.
Right. So in that sense,
it just made me feel like home. So, I lived up on the edge of the mountain, worked at gorgeous Center Mall there before it was renovated, and, met some great clients back then, and really fell in love. I was going to do asset. I thought I was going to do investments. I grew up doing it with my dad. He was in construction, but liked to do investments on the side. And I did someone's mortgage. They invited me to their housewarming. They were so grateful, to have that someone allowed them to get a home. I was hooked. Mm-hmm. So I scrapped that and went into credit. It's rewarding when people come in and like, I've got external debts. I can't afford, my lifestyle. I'm planning and I'm worried that I have to lose my house. And you restructure it and show them like, no, you're good. Like, and it's just, there's a lot of things. And I guess I live for that a little bit. So now this is my old backyard. I love this area.
That's awesome. Do you do a lot of business in Hamilton then?
Yeah. I mean, probably I'd say the most we go towards other area would be, maybe to Niagara, St. Catharines, and then into the kind of Mississauga, the edge of Toronto. That's kind of I'm still a small town kid. So I don't like going to Toronto that much. I like to stay away, but
dude, I hate the traffic. I get anxiety. I don't know what it is. Kylene has to drive for me, and
I'm with you, man.
That's why I think I love Hamilton. I moved here 8 years ago. I think it has the flexibility and options of a city like Toronto. Maybe not exactly as many options, to its benefit, really. And it doesn't have the same congestion.
Yes.
And we're also close enough to other locations that we could just drive over somewhere else if we need to.
100%. I mean, huge fan. I mean, the joke I always have, people are like, why do you hate Toronto so much? I'm like, well, little known fact that Toronto is also an hour away from Toronto. I don't know if you ever...
I've never heard that joke.
It drives me just bonkers. So,
I had to do something in Toronto last year for my Treb license, and it took me 2 hours from one side of Toronto to the other.
Yeah, that actually drives me bonkers. It's like, what are you looking for that you don't get? I mean, food scene, I'd argue Hamilton's is far better. Like everyone from, the French and all down that district out to like the Quatrefoil going out to Dundas area, like it's got epic. And I mean, you and I like to eat. So this is epic for that. The airport being close by for me, like that Hamilton airport experience compared to Toronto, 8 days a week, I'll take that.
I mean, Drake flies out of it.
Yeah, there's a reason why. I fell in love through COVID with waterfalls. And I don't think people grasped how many, like, these are the best waterfalls. I mean, I'd say even better than Niagara, but I don't really love going to Niagara too much.
That's a big statement.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the trails are some of them now you have to reserve, whatever. But my kids and I, we love chasing waterfalls, and Hamilton's got just epic amounts of them. So biking trails around here as well are some of my favorites. So, I mean, whatever you're looking for, I'd see
do a lot of
side.
cycling then?
I do. Yeah. There's some literally my favorite ones are all through Hamilton because that same escarpment that gives the waterfalls also gives you just some epic trails.
Yeah, some awesome terrain there, I imagine. Mm-hmm. It's awesome, man.
Yeah, dude.
So you've really lived Hamilton.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of people that do business in Hamilton, but don't experience Hamilton. So I was just curious.
Yeah. I lived here for a long time. Took the bus for the first few years just to help
you lived in Hamilton then?
Well, it helped me really. I mean, listen, dude, when I was first worked at RBC, it was not a massive wage, So I think people misjudged because they saw a guy wearing a shirt and tie. My guys working at DeFasco and Stelco. I mean, it was at the time named that. They were pulling in way more bank than I was, which was also a great lesson for people. Like, just because a guy comes in dirty, coal covered hands or like that, don't be surprised if he's got a great net worth and a good amount of income.
Yeah.
Like, judging a book by its cover is, it's a key message. And I still have clients still to this day, 20 some years later from my RBC days. Like a lot of my clients are still Hamilton and Burlington, Dundas, Waterdown, surrounding area.
Yeah. So what percentage of transactions you're seeing right now are first-time buyers?
We actually have a good amount right now. I'd say about a fifth of our market is somewhere in there. It's definitely been on the increase, and probably because we saw some massive changes over the last couple of years. So, the huge one, we're all, I think, can agree the cost of living has gotten a little crazy. So a couple of years ago, in order for us, if we were we're a partnership and we're looking at buying our first home, if you already had a home, I was ineligible as a partnership, right? Both of us had to be, which was really unfortunate.
You mean in a household, both partners?
Yeah. So if we were going to be buying a home together, right? And I've never bought a home and you have, we're going to go buy. I now just lost out on my first home experience buying that because you already owned your first home. So that's been scrapped. So now it's only one person has to be a first time home buyer. So all those deals that got killed years ago because of that are now active. Right now we can be a first time home buyer. So, what am I talking about? Well, you're going to get your land transfer tax credit, which is like 4K. Now you've already had your own purchase. So we can put you on title as 1%. I can be 99%. So I can still get 99% of that 4K. Yeah. It's not bad. $3,996. So that's great. My RSPs, right? So the first time home buyer program, think about this when that came out. Do you remember what the allowance was? It was 25 grand. Then they made it 35. Now it's $60,000 that I can take out from my RSP. Wow. That's pretty big, right? Because like 25 grand, sure, that was maybe 15 years ago that would do something, but it's not going to do a hell of a lot now. So it's 60 grand. I actually have a good amount of money that can come out of there from that. So you also have then the home buyer's account, which is this wackadoodle combo between an RSP meets a TFSA. It's got more restrictions on it, like the limit you can put in is a little more capped, so it takes a little more time to build. But, take the tax-free element of a TFSA, and then you also get credit for your taxes of an RSP. But like the RSP point, like you don't have to keep it in there for a certain period of time. So that's really cool. So I mean, all these things have kind of come together, and why it's advantageous, right? So why is it when I'm a first-time home buyer? Well, again, a couple of years ago, if we were buying our first home, if we didn't have 20% down, we were capped at 25 years, right? That magical elusive 30 years was only available to 20% down. That's also changed, right? December 2 years ago, They changed it. So if we're first time home buyers, I can buy in 30 years with as little as 5% down. And then on top of that, and this is kind of one of those ones that's not used a lot, but we used to be capped at $1 million as a first time home buyer for this kind of allowance.
Right. Now
that's also 1.5. Right now, let's just call a spade a spade. For us, if we're two people buying 1.5 minimum down payment, right, which is only 75 grand, we'd have to earn $386,000. Not a lot of first time home buyers are. There are some.
Yeah.
There are some, but it's not a huge one. But still, like each one of those things I just mentioned is just one little more increment towards making it easier for a first time home buyer, right? I got more money for down payment, right? And that big thing is that 60 grand. It's a really big misconception. That doesn't have to be for down payment. So let's say I'm pulling out 60 grand, we're buying together, and you've got a truck loan, right? That's $1,000 a month. That's going to take off 200 grand off your pre-approval. We can use that RSPs to pay off your truck loan, right? If I've got student debt, I can do it. If I want to buy a freaking 80-inch TV, I can use that for whatever the hell I want, right? So having that much more money available, you can structure your debt and down payment.
So
over 30 years.
Are you having these conversations then with potential clients to start planning ahead?
Oh, absolutely. And people think like, I'm thinking about buying in a couple of years. I'll reconnect with you then. Yeah, fuck no. I'm sorry to say that. No, now is when we want to do it. I'm not thinking of a couple of years. Well, let me help you succeed, right? Like a dream without a plan, it's not usually not as often actualized, right? So let us help you with that like strategy on where should you be putting your money that's optimal? Should you be paying down debt? Should you be putting it to RSPs, first home savings account? We see this often too. Like people pull their credit. They're like, what do you mean I've got a collection? Well, you had a FIDO, phone that you didn't return properly. You had a Cogeco cable unit you didn't return properly. Well, they never reached out to me. They don't give a shit. They're just going to sit there and wait until you need to do something to credit. Then you'll come knocking. Right?
Yeah.
So let's look at your credit bureaus. Make sure there's nothing that needs to be fixed, because fixing credit bureaus, it's not like that, right? You got to do some stuff and we'll help you. But like, let's help you plan to get there, like to see where you need to be so you can get out. Because it's too often we meet with people are like, yeah, like you're going to need another 6 months to a year. Oh shit, I was ready now. Why didn't you come to me a year ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. More than happy to do that. Like it's people like, I don't want to waste your time. Trust me, it's not.
That's the thing. That I come across that so much where they're just like, oh, well, I don't want to waste anybody's time. I know that there are things I still got to do, but I know that they don't necessarily know everything they got to do. And I'm trying to push them in the right direction to speak to people like you who are open to helping.
Absolutely.
I think everybody gets this sense that like, if they're not paying immediately, that like we're not interested in helping. We understand this is like a long-term game.
Yeah. Yeah. This has been 21 years for me. So, I've had clients, sometimes it was 3, 4, 5 years, right? Where people are like, okay, I got to go bankrupt. How do I reestablish credit? What does that look like to get there? Like, sure, cool. Like when I say that, like you and I talked about this before, like we love what we do. Yeah. I really do. So like this, it fills my cup to help people to plan. That's what my reason is, I think, to be here. So no, don't take that away from me. Right?
I don't think anyone's going to do that. Speaking of qualifying then, what kind of documents should really anybody but first-time buyers expect to have prepared to get qualified?
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about just an employee, right? So, we joke around all the time, like, oh, I don't want to get all those documents. I'm like, it will take you 4 minutes. Like usually the conversation I have with them on the phone is longer than how long it takes. So your recent pay stub, you probably have it on your phone, right? So you can upload it. We use a secure app for everything. There's too much security breaches going on. We don't want you emailing stuff to us. So, you don't want to be sharing. So all of our servers are all in Canada. If you know what SOC 2 designation is, it's the highest reverence basically of online security. So same as like online banking and CRA. So, you're going to put in your name, date of birth, address, SIN number. If you're doing it on your phone, it probably has your name, cell, address already pre-populated. Yeah. So that's pretty quick. So recent pay stub, the longest thing usually is for you to send a 13-second email to HR to say, I want a letter of employment, please send. Right? Yeah. Now, if you are a teacher and you've got a base salary, it's the same every year, cool, that'll be on your letter. If you're working a job where you've got overtime, or you get a bonus or commission or something like that, the lenders will use a 2-year average. So then they'll want your last 2 years T4s. Pretty easy as well. If you don't have them, your employer will have them as well, or you can go to CRA. So that for the most part is your employment. And then we want to verify down payment. And people usually say to me, like, why am I giving you down payment docs up front? I haven't even bought a house yet. I'm like, but you will buy a house. And so why we want to do that is certain company plans, some big factories around here have group plans. They also have some locked in retirement account plans. So we want to make sure that you're not counting the wrong plan.
And pulling money from.
Yeah. So, and I mean, even in a group plan, some of that money, like when I was at RBC, my group plan that I had was only vested every 6 months. So I might show 30 grand in there, but 10 grand is still not available for another 6 months. So most of myself and my team have financial planning backgrounds, so we can look at your down payment and make sure that you're not counting something that's not going to be eligible, because we want to pre-approve you as if you've already bought a house right now.
Yeah.
Right. So that, when you fall in love with that house, then you don't find out later, like, oh shit, why didn't I give you the documents earlier? I was going to have to give them anyways. Like, if you know that to be true, then when should you be giving them? Right. So I hear people go, I went to my bank. I didn't give them anything. I got pre-approved. That's great. No. That is so opposite and ass backwards. Like it should be that you're like, and then we went into a deep dive of everything I have. Right. You want a thorough, by a long time, it's going to take, 4 or 5 minutes to get your docs in, because most people have everything online, PDFs, and just upload, done.
Yeah.
So, that for the most part is about it. You're going to do an identity verification online. Want to make sure we're, protecting you, that we're not dealing with someone else. Avoid check eventually from the bank account you want payment to come from. You can pay any bank account you want.
Yeah.
You don't have to bank with the lender that we put you with. So that's about it. Of course, if you're self-employed or something like that, we usually just have our clients connect us with their accountant. I'm like, well,
that makes more sense.
We'll just get directly from them. We can have them upload it. Or if you have your T1 generals and you know what that is and you got it in full, then you just upload those. So it's not a heck of a lot on the doc side. I can guarantee you we will spend more time underwriting than you will putting up your documents. And then we create a custom report for everyone to use.
I understand that from our side of things. I think often I'm just getting a lot of hesitation when suggesting people should look into getting qualified. Mm-hmm. So I guess my question for you is that a sign that they're not ready, or do you have something to say to them to help them understand or ease them into why it is important that they...
Yeah. Also, it's a story that people have that is just bullshit, right? So, it's one of those things, like, the amount of time it will take, literally, like, for you to give me all of your documents, I'm not over exaggerating. Let's call it, I'll double the amount of time I actually think, is 10 friggin' minutes, right? If you can find somewhere in the application that takes longer, I'll come down here, shake your hand, and buy you lunch. Like, it's just bullshit. There's no part of that. Before I go into a store to buy groceries, I look in my wallet, right? I make sure my bank account has enough to buy that. If you're like, well, I'm not sure if I want to buy a house, I'm just going to go start looking at houses. It's like Easter. When you look, you find, right? So do yourself your own favor. Don't go fall in love and look at homes before you spend 10-ish minutes to send the docs. And again, I think it's back to that story. Well, I don't want to bother you. This is literally what I do when I love. Like, it would be my honor, privilege to do this. Like, let me take a look at your stuff real quickly. It's not going to be hard. Now, what I hate and what I don't think anyone should do, I just want to know approximately what it should do. I'll just tell you approximately what I have and you tell me. And then what's going to happen? Well, you're going to take that as the law, the word of God. You're going to find a house, fall in love. Then you're going to give me documents and I'll say, well, no. Well, you said I could. Well, no, because you said you wanted generality. So yeah, I kind of make that joke. Like, you would never go to your doctor or go to a surgeon and skip, what you're allergic to, what medications you're taking, what past surgeries you've had. You would give them everything with such succinct accuracy. Your life depends on it. Now, we're obviously not going to kill people, but that same type of reference for information should be upheld. Like, it's not a lot of information. So this whole conversation, just tell me approximately. Sure, you qualify with less than 20% down for about 4 times your income.
Yeah.
That's about as much information as I can give you without knowing.
Can you run that back again?
Certainly. So, if you're making $100,000 a year, you qualify for mortgage about $400,000. That's about as much information as I can give you before we start getting, and even that's dangerous. Right? Because I don't know, because especially men, I was going to call a spade, we like to exaggerate on a lot of things. So I make $100,000 a year. No, you don't. I got your letter of employment, made 92, and that's this year, right? Last year you made 84. Yeah, well, I'm gonna make 100. Cool. Yeah. When you do, that's when you can say that. So that kind of round up bullshit like needs to stop, because it's dangerous. And people will say like what they're about to make this year, even though it's only fucking April. So like, we're not a chick at the bar or a guy at the bar you're trying to pick up. Like we will look in it. The only person you're gonna hurt is yourself. So. Until I know, like, was that overtime? Are you talking about future or past or average income? What kind of debts do you have? People are like, I've got no debts. I pull their credit bureau. I'm like, you got a car lease. Yeah, I know, but it's not a loan. It's a lease. I'm like, same, man. Like, it's shit like that. Like, you co-sign for your sister. Yeah, but it's not my debt. Yeah. You co-sign. It's the same thing. So, like, just, simple information we take to get, we can remove all of that disappointment. And every time I break my own rule, usually I'm trying to help a friend. Yeah. And then later it comes to bite me in the ass. So my team has, an accountability basically that if I do that shit again, that they're going to fire me from my own company. Because it never ends up helping, even though the best intentions are.
I think what I get from that is that at times people don't necessarily understand what qualifies as, let's say, a debt. Totally. Even though that it's not affecting them immediately, it is something that counts towards what's held against them.
Absolutely. Yeah, things like, cell phones. What do you mean by cell phone? Yeah. It was only about 6-7 years ago. Like, that can help you, right, if you're paying it on time. But if you've not paid that's not a credit card. Uh-huh. Yeah. But it's still a debt repayment obligation each month you have to make. So that can actually really hurt you. So, if anyone's watching or listening to this and you don't have this already, go on to like my TELUS or my Bell account, and it's got pre-authorized payment, and you can put it right on a credit card, right? On your credit card, you can also set up for minimum payment auto debit from your bank account. This is the James Loewen no fail, have the best credit right now, so that your cell phone's never late and your Visa's never late.
Auto payments.
Yes.
Yeah. You actually save money on your plans usually.
I literally just had that with TELUS as well. Yeah, if I sign up for another one, they're doing it now. If you don't put it on Visa, you save $10 a month. If it's on Visa, it's $5 a month because they got to pay Visa, obviously too. So depends what your points are worth. But to your point, man, like you don't know what the qualifying income is. You won't know what liabilities really are being held against you. You probably also don't know what amount of your assets you can or can't use. So there's only 3 parts to a mortgage. So if each one of those, there's confusion or gray areas to what you can and can't use, do you want to be counting on that assumption?
These are all things that I ran into early on in my career. I think it was like 6 months into my first year. We were ready to go make an offer. And the guy was like, okay, I'm going to go talk to my bank, make sure I got my funds. He was super confident. He had the understanding that he had all this accessible cash. Mm-hmm. It was locked in for 2 years.
Mm-hmm. I've heard this story. I mean,
I know, and it was so I completely understand what you're trying to impress on people.
Yeah. Whenever we complete a review with a client, we call it a lender comparison and mortgage qualification report. Okay. So back in the day, 20 years ago, this was us printing out a bunch of different paper options. It's one of the proprietary texts we have. It's a custom link, it's like a miniature website just for you. So it will have verified your income, verified your credits that you have owing, your liabilities, and your down payment to the penny. Once you have that report, all you need to do is plug in the purchase price and the property taxes, and if there's any condo fees or not. It will give you a big green check mark if you're good, and a big red X if you're not. I designed this when my son was like 4 years old. I'm like, Matt, what does this mean? Like, green means go. I'm like, red, he's like, red means stop. So if you don't leave our office, you're not pre-approved, right? Because every single client, I don't care how big your purchase is or what you're doing or when you're doing it, you will have that. So you will know with certainty. But the only way you get that is if we can plug in each one of those the fields with perfectly accurate information.
Yeah.
Right. So we hear that people go to the bank. I got pre-qualified. If you ever hear that term, fucking run. Right? It means they probably didn't pull your credit bureau. They probably didn't verify your income or probably didn't verify your down payment or all 3. You don't that was like trying to hold your hand above your wallet to figure out how much money is in your bank account without actually looking. Like, it's so stupid when I hear that crap.
Yeah, this feels like,
Yeah.
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 What would you say to somebody that's focused on waiting to get to the bottom of the price dip?
Yeah. So I'm laughing because if you've got that crystal ball, come and share it with me, will you? Yeah. So remember I mentioned before that I wanted to be a trader, right? Yeah. So I was planning to be on the asset side investments. So the funniest part is I look at the average returns, in any stock market, S&P, NASDAQ, whatever. Average return is 7.1, 7.2. Call it 7, right? That means your money doubles every 10 years. Not bad. It's basically about the same as real estate actually in Ontario. If you missed the best 2 days in the market each year, only 2 days with 365, your return goes from 7 to about 2. 48 hours. That's all you're missing. So you got to picture that the best bond market, the best traders in the world, like, shouldn't they know when those 2 days are? Not a GD chance. So, if you think you know what that is, I call bullshit. So the only thing, it's colloquial. It's just, my dad said this to me all the time too. You're never going to be able to know. So it's just not timing in the market. It's time in the market. So, and I bought and sold so many homes over the years. It's made me so much great money because even when it's doing this, the general trend is always upwards. And so, I've owned triplexes in Hamilton and Thorold and homes, all over the place. And I just buy them. And I wish I held more of them. I thought that I timed them and sold them when I went, where the top was. And I look back now, man, they just kept going up. So, trying to time that out, if you start seeing the market rebounding and now you go look, you've already missed out on a good portion. Yeah.
So I try to tell people. The other thing is, I try to tell people to just start running the numbers. If we can see how much the market is currently declining from month to month, let's say, or even over the last 6 months averaged, and then you're thinking about how much money you might save down the road versus what you can afford now, I think it just comes down to numbers. Does it even make sense for you to wait it out?
Yeah.
If interest rates are going to be different at that time? So I think, and I can't fault people because I had a much better understanding after I bought a home. I didn't understand anything. And my family has been in real estate for 20 years. I heard them talking about it, but I didn't pay attention until I bought a home. And then I was like, oh, well, now I'm interested in this and I want to do this.
Yeah. Everything's scary until you do it the first time. The nice part is you've got people in your corner that can actually hold your hand and walk you through. It doesn't have to be scary. Yeah. Experience, from the finance side, from real estate side, lawyer and insurance. That's your team, right? And then home inspector, which you've got a great one too. So until you get in, the one thing I always look at too is, okay, well, I bought now and I got my mortgage at 4%. Oh man, it went down. Home prices went down another $5,000, right? But since that waiting period, now the market's in a frenzy. We got bond yields going up, so now your mortgage rate's 4.2. Your payment's higher.
Yeah.
Right. It really just comes down to budget. So for me, I take this with a grain of salt because I realize that if you ask any barber if you need a haircut, their answer is going to be yes. So I realize that it's hard. When people say is it a great time to buy? I've been doing this for 23 years since I started with RBC. I've never seen such a great period of time, especially for first-time home buyers, to be able to have, we're back below basically pre-COVID pricing, which is great. That's right where the market, avoid all this craziness is kind of where we should have been if we didn't have that kind of blip.
Yeah. I like to look at that home price index.
Yeah.
And you can watch the curve and we're exactly where it would have.
Right.
Without that spike.
So we delete that insanity because that was a crazy time. There was some cowboy shit going on, right?
Super uncommon.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody thinks that was just the norm.
Yeah. You can't use, looking at this last 5 years, if you look at just that micro 5 years, well, what are mortgage rates now? Well, now they're expensive. Well, then I know you've only been looking at this for the last 5 years because that was a period of time of unheard of mortgage rates that we really should never have done. We didn't need to do that. Just the government thought that people wouldn't spend. But then it turns out we did the very opposite of that and blew it. You ever seen Porsche, cottages, and Rolexes go so crazy during a time when people thought we'd have next to no employment? So they shouldn't have done that. But if I look back and say, okay, we're back to pre-COVID. Where are mortgage rates? Well, we're basically back, if not lower than pre-COVID. Okay. But now we have amortizations of 30 years. Okay. So it's even cheaper for a monthly payment. Yeah. And you can take out more RSPs. Okay. I've got first time home buyer account. All right. Oh, and if my partners own a home, I can still be first time home buyer. Yes. Like what else do you like? Literally, if I was to write a Dear Diary, here's the perfect scenario of everything I would want as a first time home buyer.
Yeah.
I'm describing our environment right now today. Perfection. So yeah. And even for first time, if you're looking at buying, I don't know, this is crazy too. Like when I look at some of the new builds too, like that you get to negotiate. During COVID, when I was buying new builds, you just took what you could get. When now we're getting, obviously the HST and reimbursements are there as well, but I'm seeing, free storage lockers, free upgrades, appliance upgrades, parking, like things we just couldn't get are now included there too. And also reduction on the deposit schedules. Before we had to have 20% down. Builders are also saying, no, we'll take 5%. Like it's great. And that was a market you generally could not get into as a first time home buyer, right? You needed to have enough deposits to get to there. Which a lot of people just didn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I just wanted to qualify that, as a mortgage broker sitting with a realtor, that why it actually is such an epic time to buy.
Yeah. I think my other perspective on it, since you were speaking on like long-term graphs, it's really not going to be a period where we're going to have more affordable homes than now. Maybe a smaller amount, but with the understanding that the dollar is worth less and less every year, the numbers are just going to continue to increase. And I constantly hear this from potential clients. This house is not worth this. It's worth $300,000 tops. I'm like, can you tell me why you believe this first?
It's funny. As soon as that person buys that, their story is going to change like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something is worth whatever someone else is willing to pay. That's the definition of what something is of value and worth. So, yeah. Look at the comparable homes that are out there. I mean, sure, maybe you wish it was worth $300,000, but it's not 15 years ago.
I know. I'm having a hard time with my listing pitches, specifically because I will not just take on things.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of
you should put those two
on.
groups of people in there, right? The person who goes, your home is worth 500, and they think it's worth 800, and the first time home buyer is going, we don't even think it's worth 500, we think it's worth 300, and watch the two of them just battle it out, right?
Yeah.
This is the beautiful part. Like the market is perfect, right? Whenever there's perfect competition, meaning there's no barriers to entry as far as, I can't get into Toronto. Well, no, you're on trap, right? So there's no restriction or barrier. Whenever it's perfect competition, which is essentially what we have, the market is in perfection, which means the values are in them of themselves perfect, right? It's a fool's errand to think that you as a realtor or any other realtor can actually control and dictate the market. I know you're a great realtor, but unfortunately, you don't have really the ability to affect perfect competition, right? Because you're listing it in public forums where people can find these homes and to come in. So, there's going to be things where you add value, right? Your marketing ability, your video, your ability, all of those are going to increase exposure. But assuming exposure is perfect, you can't actually control, really.
Assuming all things are equal, we're really just facilitators.
Right.
We're helping people achieve their end goals. On both sides of things. And I feel like the fault that's being placed there, I guess, comes from anger for how things are.
And it's frustration for the world. Yeah, it's being directed at you, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, you can't control affordability for, what people have as far as their incomes. The cost of living, this is just a fact. There's just no disputing the cost of living has done this and our income growths have done this.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just, that will cause massive frustration. I mean, you look at places like New York, London, places that have already gone through ahead of us on these, and you see what the home sizes have become, what the values and costs of those have been. It's essentially what's happening, to Ontario. BC was already ahead of us on that too. So yeah, I mean, no doubt they're frustrated, can't get what you want. And I think a lot of people, think my home was worth this during COVID. You didn't sell it. until you sell it, you didn't actualize that. So, you know, and it's the same thing. Like, well, what about when the market goes down and up? Are you going to use that value? No, we're always going to use the highest value, right? So, I mean, I make that joke. It's like, there's no parent that thinks their kid's a prick, but we all know there's prick kids out there.
I don't know. I can tell you now, if my kid's anything like me.
Yeah. What I mean is everyone looks at their home
I know.
and thinks it's the specialist, prettiest home in the market, right? And, you know, it's setting expectations. This is not 2001. And
so what you're saying is there are some ugly babies out there.
Sure. I mean, I was probably one of them, still am.
You briefly mentioned entry into the market, and you, I think, kind of touched on this earlier, but for, let's say, first-time buyer looking for entry point 5 to 600K, what is the total household income that they would need to generally qualify right now?
You know, I probably want to see someone sitting at about 130 to 150 of income combined. And, you know, the thing that we didn't touch on, like, we have lenders that also offer cash back, right? So, you know, you're sitting there, you've got the job, you know, maybe you're in school, you're paying down the student debt, so you haven't been able to save as much, right? So we do have lenders lenders, like these are the best lenders. I felt like Trump right now. I'm saying this, okay, the best lenders, you're gonna love our lenders. But these are the top of the top lenders that if you are short on like, okay, some land transfer tax, or I need some lawyer fee kind of covered onto that. I've got my down payment. You know, I'm sitting $500,000 house. I've got 25 grand, but I need about 7-8 grand to pay for lawyers and a bit of land transfer. We actually have cash back where your mortgage rate goes up by like 0.2%. So not much a month, but you get to buy the home now, right? So I just wanted to touch on that as far as what the income is required, and that if you're not quite there on savings, but you got good earnings, we can help you get along. And I mean, I laugh because I had a client that we just did that for. Their rate was 419 and we got them cash back. And ironically, that is what rates are right now. So they got in, got the cash back, got the house, and now they're at rates where they have no cash back they'd be at. So I mean, they're just kind of laughing.
It just worked out for them that way.
Worked beautifully. Yeah. So it's the present value of money on that is always worth more to us. And I mean, you can even use that cash back to pay off your student debt or a car loan. So now you qualify for more.
Yeah.
Right. It's a fun area that we get to do it. The best part that I love, none of the banks have access to this. None of the banks offer it. Some banks will offer you 1 or 2 grand cash back. Woohoo. It's not nothing, but it's not going to really do a lot. You know, we're talking about like up to 3% cash back, 500 grand. That's $15,000. That could pay off some serious debts or even allow you to renovate a kitchen. Like it won't be a custom kitchen, but I love IKEA kitchens, man. They do a great job.
Yeah, I mean, I love just going to hang out there. And
I mean, I'll eat like 6-7 hot dogs and get lost.
Who doesn't want a 75-cent hot dog?
My favorite part is sitting on that exit where people pack and watching them in like a little compact car and then looking at how much shit they've got in their cart and being like, you can do it, man. Like there's no chance they're getting that shit in there.
I always overestimate it. Like the box is like 2 feet too long.
Oh, dude, and they've got string and they're trying to tie like this, the tensile strength in that string. I don't know, man. It's entertaining. I'll tell you what.
I want to pivot just for a second, only to lead back to the next question, but I know you love playing guitar, right?
Yeah.
And Hamilton actually has a great local music scene.
Sure.
Have you ever been involved in it, or what's your experience musically?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. There's some good, like, I'm not that great of a musician, don't get me wrong, but there's been some great open mic nights. I've tried to go out for some of these, man. They're booked up, like, well in advance. So I actually drive to Kitchener, of all places, to get on a list there. I now actually have the guy that runs it. He's like, yeah, man, like, you know, we get some people that are really not that great. So he's like, I'll let you get on. So my buddy and I will go there to do that, which is kind of funny. Mostly we head up and jam just my buddy's basement. It's just an outlet for us to get out. But yeah, I mean, Hamilton's got a great music scene. There's tons of places to go to with awesome live music. I just, you know, unfortunately not able to get in there, nor do I have the time to be able to practice enough to, I don't think, have a great set. But, you know, I'll let you know when we're doing Kitchener next. We usually just do that 3 songs. That's it. So.
Yeah, speaking of open mics, years ago, I actually used to be a rapper.
Come on. What was your rap name?
I'm not gonna give you that because then people are gonna Google me.
Absolutely.
And we used to be part of this like rap group, and early on we wanted to practice, so we found an open mic night. I was like, bet. So we showed up. Turned out it was an open mic for comedy.
Okay. That means one mic.
And they're like, you know what? Sure, you guys can perform.
Yeah.
At the very end. And so it was like the worst crowd to have, just a room full of amateur comedians laughing at you.
Yeah. Oh, shit. That's a great feedback.
No, but that said, the reason I was asking about the music thing is you've more recently, I think, gotten into lending, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's called Six String Lending.
Six String Capital. Yeah. I mean, you probably see it on as well. I've got a 6-string guitar on my. So my business partner, we play music together as well, is a partner in this private lending. So, we found. I love that sometimes problems become opportunities, right? When you look at the world. So we found a lot of times private lenders would not go under $100,000 for a private loan. It wasn't worth their time. So we approached another mortgage investment company that already had a great BDM, great underwriting, all the systems and people in place, and just said, hey, would you facilitate this? How much would it cost? And because they're already in business, they're like, there's nothing for us to do some extra, loans and deals. So worked out awesome because we have a lot of demand for that. People are like, I need $50,000 to renovate my home, or I need to pay off taxes that are owing. Name the thing that you need, right? I've lost my job. I got injured. I need to be able to recover for the next, 6 months. I need $75,000. So that was really, it's been a super fun. Now we still do the other loans, the bigger ones as well. So it was a great opportunity for us to, I've always wanted to have a MIC. I've been doing private lending for years. So it's great now. I've got now clients, family, friends, neighbors. So they're making money on the investment side. And we have clients that are borrowers that are actually getting access at a really good deal. So I like that because we get to set pricing as well. So, we've set it in a place where we're pretty cheap in the marketplace. It means that we could pick and choose our deals. It means we can also bring solutions to clients where they don't feel like they're getting bent over. So it's only been a couple months now. I think we funded just over 1.4 million now as well, which is great. Our target this year is around 10 million. It was 5 million, but we think we can hit 10. So, it's just a win-win, I think, for everywhere, for, investors to be part of and borrowers to have solutions that just weren't out there. So it's been cool.
Is it something that you just have on the side for when you come across a situation that requires this? Or is this an endeavor that you're just pursuing separately from this?
It's both. Yeah. So no, we're very much in the active space. So brokers can submit deals in, most of our deals. I mean, sometimes there's deals that myself and John bring to our own MIC. But no, this is actively available for brokers
that's awesome.
Across all of Ontario. The other thing, because I'm from a small town, and John knows KW in the area, like we love going out to like Ayr or to Erin, or, we both are ATV and snowmobile enthusiasts and off-road enthusiasts. So most of that stuff is done in these smaller communities right on the outside. So if you're in Fergus or you're in, name the place, we will also lend out in those regions too. Right. So whereas before I was like, we can lend to 50% loan to value. Well, we know there's areas outside of Guelph and London and everywhere that are awesome places that we can sell a house pretty quickly. So we actually will lend there too. So it's become a solution for those more rural brokers along with our own deals and just, where people weren't aware of the marketplace, we know those areas a bit more. So that's, kind of became a solution for everyone. Bunch of wins all around.
That's awesome, man. You've got so much going on. Thank you for coming in today.
My pleasure, brother.
Super helpful. How can people find you?
Everywhere. Yeah, please Google us. Google Loewen Group. We've been, honored to receive.
By the way, I think it's like over 750 reviews, 5 stars. They'll be easy to find.
Yeah. So if you Google us, I want you to become our next, 5-star on that. But we're on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, everywhere and anywhere that you communicate. That's cool with us. Our phone number that you see on our website, if you're a texter, you can text that number, right? Our text stack is big. However you communicate, that's cool with us. You want to DM me, you want to email me, text me, call, by all means, however you reach out. I like to jump on every call with every client initially to have a discovery call. I want to see, is there a fit? Is there a deal? What are we working towards? Right. So, we don't want you to go through our entire process and we find out you're not living in Canada. You don't pay taxes here. We could tell you like that. You're not going to get a mortgage, right? Or what you need to do at least. So I will jump on every call, and I look forward to it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to put his information down in the description. And yeah, thank you, man.
Cheers, buddy.
Great having you.
Thanks.